I'm going to tell the story because I don't think we'll ever get in trouble because no one listens to this, but I'm open.
I'm open.
I'm open.
Coach, I'm open.
And baby, I'm open.
I'm open.
Oh,
Wow.
Welcome to the I'm Open podcast with Sam, Ryan, Joe, and Andrew, and Everest Shapiro of the Los Angeles Aviators. This is his first official top billing appearance on the podcast because he is in the West Division, and we need to figure out what is going on in the West Division.
Wild West.
Welcome, Everest.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited for my first official appearance after one brief. No, I think you've had me on technically 3 times before.
Well, one of those podcasts we had to take off of the air, so
Okay,
it doesn't
so
count.
that was-
It's not
okay,
canon
what was it?
anymore.
And then one time I don't think I was. Oh, it was when you were live streaming some games.
yeah. I don't think that counts as a pod.
No, either. So then I've been in once before for like 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, you were on in like one of like the very first
Yeah.
podcasts.
We called you to ask like what you thought an abnormally high wind speed was or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember.
All right. Well, anyway, I spent like 6 hours making a slideshow, so I'm going to use that.
Hell yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No,
While we've got a brief second before we jump in, if you've made it this far in the video, hit that subscribe button, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. It really helps us out. Buy our merch. All right.
You know
now-
what? I'm not going to tell you what to do. Do whatever you want. You don't have to subscribe. It's okay.
Don't subscribe.
Yeah, don't. Honestly,
Yeah.
don't subscribe because Ryan told you to subscribe. Like, Jesus.
Do
Think
it
for
for you.
yourself.
Unsubscribe.
Yeah, unsubscribe. If you're already subscribed, unsubscribe. We don't want you.
Subscribe
We
back.
don't need your.
We don't need your handouts.
We're doing great at this. All right. Welcome to the AUDL West Division preview. Yeah, clap.
This is
clap,
looking good,
clap,
Sam.
clap.
Insert
Yeah, it looks
applause
great.
here.
Thank you. I would tell you where I
I
made
am-
it, but they don't sponsor us yet. So
Yes.
I'll withhold that
Yeah,
information.
we'll
We
bleep
got
it
another
out.
strongly worded email from them.
Oh,
Let's kick it
beautiful.
off with these 2022 results.
All right.
As we all know, the Summit won the division, closely followed by the Shred and Growlers. And then a few games below that, we have the Spiders and, of course, the Aviators. And then even lower, Seattle and Portland.
Just
Man,
looking
Everest-
at these
that
records,
was-
like this is how I would tier the teams too. Like I would group the Spiders and Aviators, and then at the bottom, Cascades and Nitro.
Sam, that was a really good recap of the season. I think you really hit it all.
Oh, great. Thanks.
Yeah, well done.
Before we get into any specifics, who do you see sliding or jumping from this list? I will say we went to Instagram, follow us on Instagram at Ring of the Ulti, and we asked people for their takes. We got 2 different people saying they thought that Portland would make the playoffs.
Wow.
No fucking way. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No fucking way.
I think
I don't know
that's
about that. I don't know about
a
that.
terrible take, and I'm sorry to the people who said that because you should probably see a doctor.
One thing that jumps out to me is I'm like, I didn't realize that Aviators were 4-8 last year. Like, that's rough. Like, no offense,
Everest,
but
explain yourself.
I thought it was higher.
You know what the funniest part is? All 4 of our wins, I think, were by 1 point.
That's
So,
crazy.
Yeah.
And we probably had like the worst point differential to win-loss ratio.
That's tough. It's interesting because I mean it really goes to show the types of like, I mean, we can get into this later, but like everyone's saying that you guys are going to be really good, and you guys were 4-8 last year. Like, there's a lot of ground to make up there. Like, maybe we need to pump the brakes a little bit, but I don't know. I mean,
Hey,
it's hard to say.
It's hard to do worse than 4-8.
Yeah, it's hard to do that much worse. And also, a lot of those losses were close. Like you had the buzzer beater against San Diego, at least. Like you guys are kind of neck and neck with them. So
That one was interesting.
and yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Maybe on one hand, I'm like, that's a lot of ground to make up. But then on the other hand, I'm like, maybe that record isn't really indicative of. Well, I mean, I guess it is indicative of how you guys did. It's literally your record, but I don't know.
Mm.
Anyway,
And I mean, they did do a lot to potentially make up that lot of ground. So, but yeah, we'll get into it. All right.
I am so excited to talk about the AUDL again.
Yeah.
doing
Me
it right
too.
now.
I spent like 6 hours making this, like I said, so I've been waiting. Anyway, we're just gonna go top down, go over the kind of outlooks for this season. I got some beautiful graphics up of stats from last year, key games for this year, and then the key roster additions and losses or subtractions. I didn't really know what word to put there. But yeah, Ryan, you're wearing the sweatshirt. Tell us about the summit.
Yeah, I'm so excited for the Summit team this year. The one cool part about like last year is like it was their first season, so they were kind of just like new and playing together, like together as a team new, but like they're adding some big names in like Kai Marshall, Calvin Stoughton, like Sandy Brown, like all these guys are big players, big hitters. I'm really interested to see how the 2020 or 2023 stats kind of pull out, because you kind of see Quinn Finer's name a bunch. You see Jay Fruit up there. Like, I think it might be a lot more spread out next year. And I don't think it's going to be dominated by just one or two players, which is going to be interesting. I think the Summit have a real shot at winning the whole thing next year. That's my take.
Sheeple take right there.
Okay.
I think something that's
I have the
interesting.
take chart if we want to add to it while we're going.
Yeah, I think we definitely could. I think seeing Nethercut up there with the most assists, that adds up, just what I would have guessed. And he's coming back, so that's huge for them. It looks like they're adding way more than they're losing. So, and they already were the best team. So they're looking good. They're looking pretty good.
Yeah. That Empire game is going to be awesome, because either it's going to be really good, really close, or Empire is just going to blow them out, and it's going to be like, okay, yeah, like the difference between the Central and the West is huge, and it's just like, oh, I can't wait for that game. That's gonna be sick.
Yeah, I have. Go ahead, Joe.
You continue. You said more words than I did, so you get to keep going.
I was just gonna say I have what went into choosing these key games. I just thought Aviators, is that the first week of the season or the second week?
That's our home opener.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I figured
first week.
Yeah, I figured because people are anticipating big things from the Aviators, like that game could be kind of like establishing where the teams are at the start of the year, and then obviously the shred games are probably going to continue to be huge for standings. And then the Summit have the two probably most fun kind of interdivisional games with Windchill and Empire.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I think the interdivisional games are going to be just like, I don't know, interesting. It was a crazy championship weekend last year with some teams getting blown out by teams that you would have thought they play close games against. So I'm excited for some interdivisional play to see, like, is it true like New York Empire are, twice as good as the Union, or is it just like, terrible game for the Union, and at least we get a bigger sample size now. But yeah, I think I kind of agree with Ryan. I don't know about winning the championship, but about them being a contender. I think last year they didn't really show anything about another team being better than them in the West. And I kind of feel like they're only going to be better this year. I feel like Nethercut had like 43 turns last year, and he had way more turns than anyone else on the entire team. They're like top 7 players in O-line points played combined for 54 turns outside of him. I guess 6 out of their 7. There's only 11 turns more than just Nut by himself. They have an insanely efficient team. Like Quinn Finer had 7 turns. Atkins had 8. Brewster had 3. Like this team is wildly efficient, and it was their first year as a team. Obviously, the club scene in Colorado is looking great. And like if Nethercutt just like keeps it holstered like 10 more times on turns that he threw for like crazy hucks that just like should have never been thrown, they could be like top 3 in the league for fewest turnovers. They were already like 6th last year. So I don't know. I feel like they didn't really lose anything. And another team's gonna have to really prove it. Otherwise, for me, they're the clear favorite.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Colorado looks good this year.
Yeah.
That's for sure. What is that D-line conversion 55%? Does that mean that they get breaks on it? That doesn't mean they get breaks.
I think that's when they
get possession.
When they get the possession of it, they score 55% of the time.
Yeah.
It's a little bit deceiving because you can call a timeout and put your O-line on. I don't know how often they did that.
But does that still count as a D-line conversion percentage, or is that for the O-line?
I think so.
Yeah,
it does. It's how a lot of O-line players get listed as having defensive points played.
Oh,
interesting.
The last thing I'll say is everyone keeps saying that the Summit aren't losing anything, but Everest, have you met this Daniel Brunker fellow? Is he something?
Yeah, me and Brunky, I don't know, I told him some weird story about, no, I was talking to Sam Cook and I was telling him some story about how when I was a kid, I had a truck, but I couldn't say T, so I called it Brunk, but then that wasn't a name, so I called it Brunk, and then I kept telling Cook that I had the toy named Brunky 3000, and then I started calling Brunker that, and he did not understand at all what was happening. But I like Brunk. He kind of led some of our practice the other day. He's a cool guy. He looks a lot like Kevin Goldberg, Jackson's older brother.
He does.
All right.
It's interesting. Wait, I didn't realize that they were playing Minnesota also. I knew they were playing Empire, but it's also interesting that the Empire matchup is coming like near the end of the season. Well,
yeah,
it's not end, but later in the season, because that'll be big if they do end up seeing each other in championship weekend or playoffs or something.
That's a good point.
So
yeah, they could see each other in the semis or something.
Yeah. And for records, like let's say someone like drops like to 1 to Shred, 1 to Windshield, 1 to Fire, like they may not get the top seed. Like
that's
Aviators, like that could be their spot in.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, or you could say like DC loses both games to the Empire, and then the Empire have like some crazy road trip where they lose to the Shred and to the Windchill, and now both teams have 2 losses, even though the Empire beat Breeze twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been excited for this season.
We've been saying really good things, but like thinking about the schedule in that way does make me think like there's a path for other teams to win the West Division for sure.
Certainly.
So it'll be a shakeup, but they do look very good. Do we have anything else on this?
No, I think
Fuck the Summit.
Yeah, fuck them. Next team.
Next team. We got the Salt Lake Shred, and I put to explain my joke here, I've got Jordan Kerr, and then I've got Cerberus, the 3-headed dog, because of the additional Jorgensen brother that they now have.
The Jorgfecta is
anyway
complete.
The Shredder back, your favorite high flying, high turning it over a lot team that only lost to Colorado last year.
No, they drop one against San Diego also? Oh no, I think you're
right.
No,
I think they just lost both or all 3 to Colorado, and that was it.
Yep.
Huh.
But Summit lost. Who did Summit lose to?
Yeah, Summit lost to San Diego.
Okay. On the road.
Yep. Anyway, Salt Lake Shred, big Notable loss was Joe Merrill to DC. He was their goal leader, and he had 69 plus minus, which nice. But they added Elijah Jaime and Grant Lindsley, which is
That's crazy.
yeah.
Shout out to Grant Lindsley for releasing a book also.
Yeah.
And
Saw that all over Instagram today.
Go buy that book.
No, don't buy it. He didn't
I ordered
sponsor
it.
us. Oh, fuck.
I didn't order it. I mean, he didn't sponsor
Don't order
us.
it unless he sponsors us. Just
All
kidding.
right.
Order
Can I say something?
No.
But is Grant Lindsley going to play on the D line, or is he going to be an O line guy?
I have no fucking idea. He lives in New York City. I don't know what he's doing on this roster.
That's crazy. Because I was wondering, like, I made my big like brash take that like the Shred are, you know, could lose the division or whatever, blah blah blah. And part of that was because Joe Merrill is gone, and like he led the like it's not even close. He had the most goals. Like that's crazy. But like, you know, having Grant Lindsley come and just plugging him in, like, I don't know, maybe that makes my take like really bad.
I don't know. I mean, they're also losing Garrett Martin. That's kind of a big loss. And then Joel Clutton, who like just was their D-line stopper. Like the Summit couldn't throw deep. Well, they still could because they had another cut, but like he would just be back there eating up everything. Like he was a huge factor on that D-line.
So,
yeah, that's true.
And that Garrett Martin loss, and just like the Brunker loss, those are like even worse for them because it's not like they're leaving the division; they're just going to a different team in the same division.
Yeah.
So it's almost like twice as bad as to lose these people who are obviously players.
Oh
yeah,
God.
Garrett Martin was
There's a link there
in D points played.
Sorry,
Clutton had 15 blocks. Ben Green also had 15 blocks, and Brandon Jordan had 10 blocks. They're losing a lot of their defensive players, and like they're bringing in Jaime, great. Lindsley, we don't know if he's going to play O line or D line, great, but their offense isn't really what they need to improve. Like obviously losing Merrill hurts, but they have Jordan Kerr. Like everybody who they put around Kerr is gonna be good. And like their offense, well, yes, they had a lot of turns. They also scored a lot. They were third in total scores. So like I'm not super worried about their offense, but losing 40 blocks between Clutton, Green, and Jordan, that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Everest, what was it like? Did you ever match up with Joel?
I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember a lot from you guys know. I don't remember a lot from what but
playing the AUDL Everest. Remember that at least.
No, I mean watching him play and seeing obviously highlights. Every few days AUDL feels like we'll post a highlight of him getting some crazy D. But dude, I mean when we were playing. He won I feel like he won like 80% of the end of quarter things against our team because he's just a monster. And an incredibly good player, obviously it is insane. So thankfully for us, he's not playing this year.
That's a great point, Joe. Like the deficits that they need to make up are definitely on that D line, but like the kind of the MO of the West Division is that like turnovers are gonna happen. Like you were talking about, if the team that we all agree, or at least the team that was the best last year in the Summit, like they still turn it over a ton. So I don't know, like maybe you just kind of just keep punching it in some on the O line after like I don't know. Obviously they're losing a lot of blocks, but I think teams are still going to turn it over, and maybe that's not as dramatic of a loss as maybe it looks like on paper. I'm kind of changing my mind on what I said last time. Like I think they're really good. I don't know what to think anymore.
I also do think that they're pretty good, and like personally, I have them finishing third in the division. I think they'll make the playoffs, and I think they're a good team. I just think that it's worrisome. They were already they were like, I don't know, they were probably like 10th or 11th or something in scores against per game, but also they just like they turned it over and they were quick and they got turnovers and they were quick, so they had like one of the most number of points played. Just they, lots of scores against, way more scores. And like if you're gonna play like that and not be first in blocks, you're giving the other team just a lot of chances to score on you.
Right.
So I don't know. They were 20 points. They were giving up 20 points a game last year, getting 24. I don't know. If you get 3-4 fewer blocks per game, that's going to translate to 2 or 3 more scores against you. I don't know. It's a little bit worrisome, but I do still think that like the positives outweigh the negatives, and their offense, me not being worried about their offense is just like testament enough to them having a great offense. And, I still think that's better than what their defense is going to do. And they got the Jorgensens. They're going to be fine.
Yeah, what's up with that? Do we think there are more like
I
in
think
the
there are.
wings waiting?
I think there are more.
They haven't shown me any reason to think that there are not more.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I think in like 5
Infinite.
years, it's going to be a line of Jorgensens.
Yeah,
We'll have the Jorgensen line and then the D line. All right,
No.
final words for the shred. Anyone? They're good.
Go
Still
Kerr.
good, maybe less good, but unclear.
All right.
Yeah.
San Diego Growlers.
A lot of subtraction.
You chose red for the.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the main thing to focus on here would be the roster additions, which are blank, and the roster subtractions, which is not blank at all. It's in fact very unblank. It's got 8 names on it.
Yeah. Sean
Most of them are
McDougal-
aviators now.
Yeah, Sean McDougal was their leading scorer. And of their top 5 leading scorers, they're going to keep Dunn and Lally, and that's it. They're losing 72 scores over the season, 42 and 47 scores over the season. In Corbett and Goose Helton, who's not going to play this year. But it's not great.
Yeah, it's a really tough situation for the Growlers. Like, I think we're all expecting them to just drop a handful of games this year. Like, they won one against the Summit last year. I don't think any of us is going to expect them to even like come close to beating them this year, which would be crazy if they did. Like, upset of the century, I'll say.
I mean, they still have a lot of good players, and I don't know many of their rookies. Like, I'm sure they have, good rookies coming in. We'll just have to see. It does seem like, I don't know, it does seem like this is not their season.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just gonna happen. Like whatever team seems like they're gonna be better, like between the Aviators and the Growlers, everyone will just swing back and forth like constantly.
Well, did you guys see? I think Daniel Cohen. I don't know. Somebody had like a little write up maybe a couple weeks ago about like the West Coast history, like a brief history of it. And they talked about players that, started in Santa Barbara, went to LA, to San Diego, back to LA, and just like over the course of each year, like who moved around a lot. And I feel like honestly, this year is probably this is definitely like one of the top 2 or 3 years of movement between the teams in the past, like, 6, 7, 8 years.
No.
That's just very interesting. It's like I don't think there's any other sport where like that happens, at least any professional sport. Like wouldn't it be funny if like
in soccer?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't really follow football that much though. Like I'm just thinking like what if like half of the Nationals players played on the Phillies, but then like the Nats signed someone and then like everyone just went back to the Nats and like
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing that contracts are $50, not in the millions. No salary cap here.
Well, what else is interesting? I mean, there's a lot of friendships, and a lot of these guys on both teams play on the same club teams and go pick up together, pods, work out together, live together. I mean, last year we had my friends like were living. Some of the Aviators players were living with Growlers players. Like everybody's just tight, and I feel like because of that, it's moving around isn't such. There's been some times in the past where people have moved and it's kind of left a bad taste in one team or the other's mouth, but I think for the most part everybody's pretty good friends, and people understand that you move for life or for work, or you get tired of the commute one way or the other. I don't know, and you just want to play for a different team.
You think
that happens over here?
Do you think Pavel was a big draw this year that kind of made it one of the bigger years of switching, or is it just coincidence?
Probably. I mean, I can't say yes or no, but I'd be surprised if that didn't affect some people's decision to move teams.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, and then the Growlers have, I think, the biggest road trip from the West Division. They go to Austin in late May, which last year would have been a fun game. This year, I don't know if it will be quite as exciting, but I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, they still do have Jordan Kwekin Bjorner on their D, so
yeah,
that's an exciting player.
Exciting.
He gets really excited really fast. It's really cool. No, but anyway, yeah, they were kind of like they were an interesting team because last year, they were the only team to beat the Summit, but then they had those close games with the Aviators. It seems like there's kind of a grinded out team, so maybe that'll hold over and they'll still cause trouble for the good teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I
go
was
ahead.
gonna say it's still Travis Dunn, who like if you watch like the Growlers game live, like it's the Travis Dunn show. Like that guy's insane. Like, they'll still be okay.
Yeah, as long as they still got him, and yeah, I think that's definitely true of the team last year. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not super familiar with the San Diego Ultimate scene, so like, if you'd asked me right before that Summit game that they won, who was gonna win, I would say, oh yeah, the Summit are definitely gonna win. That like totally surprised me, but like they definitely have good players. No matter what, I'm sure they can just plug in some, the next like talented young player. There's a lot of people leaving, but I guess that leaves a lot of opportunity for them to figure out who else is, can kind of make a name for themselves. So, maybe they'll surprise us and make the West interesting, which I would love. Steal a win here or there and make things interesting. I'm definitely rooting for that.
All right. Next, we got Oakland, who started off like 0-6 last year, and then they finished 4-8. They were kind of like better than their record, it seemed like, and then they obviously added Mac Hecht for next season. So I don't know. People might be expecting bigger things from them.
Did they have like a weird win where they won a game that was like, how did they beat this team? Like, or what was, or like they almost beat someone? I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember being
maybe
really into like the end of one of their games. Yeah, I think it was the Shred. Maybe
I can't remember.
Yeah, down to the wire.
They had one game that went down to the wire, and it was like, how are the Spiders like almost gonna win this game? And maybe they did win. I don't fucking remember. But yeah, they had a little run at the end. Like I remember when we were tier listing, they were low, and then we were like, wait a second, we gotta respect them. Like towards the end. So yeah, that I do remember that. Yeah, I mean, we got anything else on these guys? I really, again, this is a huge blind spot for my knowledge of Ultimate players.
Everest, are you scared of these guys?
I'm not that spooked, no.
Yeah, I don't know. One thing that jumps off the page. Sorry, go ahead, Ryan or Joe.
I was saying it's proven kind of hard to find their games from last year just on the AUDL website quickly. So I couldn't figure out exactly what game you're talking about, but I know what you're talking about.
We were all like texting each other.
Yeah, and they also like had a a path to the playoffs with like 4 games left. It was like not out of the question.
I remember
If
being
they-
really into that.
Yeah, if they had like one out, like one like I get maybe against like the Shred twice or something, and they like split those games. I don't really remember, but they did. It was like viable. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Mac Hecht edition is great. I looked up the other players because I was not super familiar with them. It looks like it was, I think, all players who had like taken last year off or taken a couple years off and are coming back. Yeah, and Ben Sokolowski, he was second in points played. He had a 96% completion percentage, which was a sad little loss, but I think Mac Hecht can probably make up for it. Is he like gonna play?
I don't know.
He didn't really play very much last year.
No,
Like,
I mean,
he
I
for,
think
like,
he
on
was.
Detroit, but
Yeah, I think he was
still.
coming off an injury and just kind of did a spot in Detroit for 1 week, but I don't know. I would love to, like, the throws he makes on a regular field that's like tiny compared to the AUDL, like giving him AUDL space to use his sort of creative throws and just put them wherever he wants. I would love to see a full season of that. I think that'd be super fun.
So awesome.
Yeah, it'd be sweet. Yeah, I feel like Lung and Justin Norden like are solid handlers as well. So like Lung, Norden, and Heck together could be a pretty solid handle core. I just like kind of worry about, do they have enough of the rest of an O line to really like compete against really good teams? Maybe they can steal a game or two, because I don't think they're going to be bad. I think they're probably going to be similar to what they were last year, maybe with like an extra win or two. But yeah, I mean, Max Williams had 36 goals. After that, it was 23. I don't know. I feel like I just can't really say I know how they're going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Definitely
had
a
more.
big question mark.
Just looking right there, they had more scores per game than Growlers did last year. So maybe it wasn't their O that was quite the problem. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they led. Remember, they led the league in like some weird stat that you wouldn't have expected. Was it like
I was trying to figure out what it was.
completions.
I couldn't.
I think it was completions.
Yeah, it's like, huh, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Like,
That was in my drunk trivia, I think.
Oh, it's completions per game.
Per game. Yeah.
completions per game.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like their. I have always liked their logo, and when they do their roster announcements, they say like 8 legs, 1 heart. I like that.
Their logo is so sick.
Yeah.
It's cool. Maybe because it's 7 players on the field and the 8th person's the sideline. 8 legs.
Ooh.
Could be.
We'll look into that. We'll get back to you.
Probably not.
All right. This is what we've all been waiting for. Come on.
There
Los
we go.
Angeles Aviators. Let's go.
Wow.
Look at that. Last year, fewer than 7 blocks per game. Everest,
Ooh.
what do you have to say for yourself?
Hey, I have to say for myself that I think I had 5 or 6 of those blocks, and I only had 7 games.
He was
Not very brag about
actually
it.
fourth on the team with 5 blocks.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, the roster additions list is very long for this team. It's basically the same as the Growlers subtractions list, plus one Pavel Giannis and Jason Valley and Daniel Brunker and Calvin Brown and Devin Cox.
Oh.
Okay, so
And they lost KJ Koo. Would you like to say a word about the departure of our dear KJ Koo?
Yeah, KJ asked if I sent a Snapchat of one of our old games. I was like watching film and I was like, I can't believe this cut, Marcel, or something. KJ goes, yo, you got an AUDL TV login I could use? I said, yeah. And then I changed the password to KJ is a cutie 99, and I gave him the username and password, and he was like, no way, you're lying. That's not the password. And then he used it and it was real.
Wow.
Wow.
What a legend.
I changed it since. Nobody's still.
Everest, what's
I bet you
your
have.
What's
routing
my
number?
username? My username is also blah blah blah. Now KJ moved to like New Zealand or something.
Oh
well.
shit. They don't have a
Yeah.
team there, do they?
Not AUDL.
Next year
Um,
expansion.
Auckland
Yeah.
Ultimate this league.
Anyway, yeah, for key games, it was kind of boring because you guys play exclusively in the West this year, but
Yeah,
I just included Summit Shred. Those are probably going to be the defining games of the season.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Everest, is there any names we're missing on the additions or subtractions list?
I mean, there's a lot of great rookies that we have coming on, and there's some people who have been practice player for the past few years who are now brought up to rostered, which is really exciting.
Any rookie or like people that brought up that you think is gonna make an impact or start O-line, start D-line?
Yeah, I think Cy Toriello and Tucker Lemos are gonna play incredibly well. They're both D-line guys, and we played Hazard the past couple of years, our club team out here in 2021 and 22. And I mean, those guys are just big impact players. It's going to be interesting seeing Tucker was practiced for Aviators a little bit before, so he has a bit of experience, but Cy's like, completely new. And just in our practices already, it's been interesting seeing Cy, like watching him try to adjust to the new field, and he's doing a really good job of it. But it's always, I know it was definitely intimidating for me coming to AUDL, new rules, new field, and everything. But I think these guys are gonna do really well and make big plays for us.
That's sick. All right, Everest, I gotta know. Have you caught a deep puck from Pavel yet?
Of course I have.
What did it feel like? Were you just like, oh, I can't wait for the season?
Oh, pretty dang good. But for the first like 5-6 practices, like I swear I only saw Pavel throw like one huck. I was shocked. I felt like I was cheated out of sight. I was like, what the hell? I thought you were gonna be sending it every time you got it. What do you know? He's a smart player.
He was probably trying to send a message about this 49% O-line conversion rate we see here. That is not a Pavlyana's number right there.
I will. Yeah, I've gotten a decent amount of hucks in practice, but nobody's overthrown me yet.
What specifically, like, because the roster is so different. Obviously, you have Pavel, that changes so many things. Like, and you're not a rookie anymore; it's your second year. So, like, what do you think's changed for you, like, coming into the second season?
I think that getting Sean as well, I think that's going to be the biggest difference maker for our O-line, or at least for me, because I don't feel like, I don't know, last year it felt like I was trying to be, the number one deep threat. And after a bit into the season, it felt like the other team defense started respecting that more. But it'll be interesting now with Sean over here. I can definitely split the deep threats. And that's basically been what's happening in practice, and it's seeming pretty good so far. But for me, I don't know. I mean, I was really nervous the first game, and I kind of was out of it for the rest of the, it's just mostly took that game, but not going to be as nervous anymore. But I do know, I mean, there's high expectations for us this year, so that's going to be in the back of my mind. I'm going to want to, make live up to everybody's expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting.
We did get another response on our hot takes thing about you. Someone said sophomore of the year, Everest Shapiro fakes another injury right before claiming the scoring title. Do you think that'll happen?
I hope not.
So you admit you faked it last time.
If you want to know who said that, their name is on the screen right now, so you can figure it out for yourself, Everest. Any last words on the Aviators?
I just want to say that the key game, and really like one of them should be circled or emphasized. But May 20th Summit game, that's going to be Ringer the is going to be in the house for that
Oh
game.
shit.
So that's
Mhm.
going to be sick. That's going to be the first time that well, I guess Everest we can count on, but all four of us are going to be all together like since we started this thing, like for a
That's
long
fucking crazy.
That
So
is crazy.
that'll
We
be fun.
gotta brainstorm some wild shit to do with that
Yeah.
game.
We'll definitely bring the Aviators a present again like last year for sure.
Yeah. We'll bring lots of
It was a
presents.
great gift you brought us. The great 30 gifts you brought us.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna tell the story because I don't think we'll ever get in trouble because no one listens to this. But for the record, we snuck in a 18 pack of Coors Light by wrapping it like it was a present, and then we told the security guard that it was our friend's birthday and that we were there to watch this game. And then after the game, we gave it to him, and then the Aviators drank all of them in a second. They were
And
gone.
like, yeah, like 5 minutes later, like people are still like decleating. Sam and I were like, okay, can we get a beer? Like we want to drink one. And Matt Miller's like, those are gone.
We were on the
Yeah.
field, and I was yeah, I took him from you guys and like hobbled back over, so my ankle was blown up. So I hobbled back over to our sideline and was like, "Hey, everybody, we got some. My friends brought us something."
Oh, I should also mention that was the game, right? Ryan, you bet against the Aviators to win. And how
Did.
much money did you put? Like
I put I think
$200.
$600 on the Summit to win, and if
Oh.
the Summit won, I would have paid out I think like 45 or like $60 or something like that.
It was
And go like literally the point before half, like I think the game's tied or something, or maybe the Aviators are
I
down
think
one,
we were
right?
down 9-10.
You guys are down 9-10, and Everest, that's where he fakes the injury and catches the goal, and then they're tied up. Thankfully, Everest got hurt. It wasn't a fake injury, so then they lost. And
Were you glad that I just like took one for the team there?
I heard Ryan screaming sideline to me when I was trying to toe the line.
oh yeah, that's what happened. Oh man. No, and that strategy, I'm gonna keep that strategy rolling into next year. AUDL gambling is gonna come up. We might have to have a gambling segment soon.
I mean, you basically did with
With
Steve
Steve.
Hall.
Stall 9. Oh yeah.
All right. Well, moving on. Time to talk about the bottom feeders of last year. We've got first the Cascades. Also have an all West schedule coming up. Have some big name additions, but also a pretty substantial list of departures. And obviously there was that Twitter back and forth with Khalif, but to be completely honest, I don't know if I'm expecting much from the Cascades.
Yeah. I see them
Yeah,
maybe another game or two, but I see a 4-8 team, I think.
I don't know. The addition of Khalif is big. I mean, I don't know. I feel like last year nobody was committed to. You can look at like their leading goal scorer had 20 goals. Their leading assister had 22 assists. Nobody played all 12 games. 11 people played 8 games or more, so not even a starting O line and a starting B line played 8 games. That's not great. I also looked up that their number one player in points played was Tariqa Hughes, and he was 134th in the league in points played. So I don't know if are they going to get players to play? Are their players even like good enough to be a competitive team if everybody played the whole year? Obviously, Khalif is the rest of the team. Like I have no idea. They lost Miller and Simon, who are both like top 5. I think it's their leading goal scorer and their leading assist rower. Yeah, it is.
And they're plus
I don't
money.
know. Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. If Khalif plays the whole year, maybe they'll be good, but they also need way more. They need everybody who's good on that team to play the whole year. If they're all going to play 7 games, like adding Khalif doesn't make you a playoff team.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they suffer from, and maybe this is true of the Nitro as well, just like having different priorities. And I think like talking to Dylan Freechild last week, really, I think we got a good window into like maybe how a lot of those elite players in the Pacific Northwest kind of view the AUDL, where it's like, I don't know, people just kind of seem to want to invest all their time and energy into like those club teams. And not have a lot of crossover, not have a lot of coordination between the two. And I don't know, like Dylan was awesome. I thought his perspective was really cool, but like, I don't know if I super agree with like the kind of separation of club and AUDL that they kind of like, and this kind of putting club on a pedestal and kind of like, you know, looking down at the AUDL a little bit. So I think the Cascades and the Nitro, which we'll talk about, I think they both suffer a lot from that, you know, because there's talent in that area. There's no doubt that there is. And they just don't really like view it as like as important. So as long as that continues to happen, then these teams are just kind of gonna look like Manny Eckert played, and you can look up his stats. Like if he played a whole season, he could have been like an MVP. You know, like he put up MVP numbers in the like 4 games he's played or whatever, like maybe more, but you know, not consistently in one season, even just like spread out over like 3 years or whatever. So I don't know. It kind of is what it is, and I don't see any major like shift happening this year, even with Khalif coming. I don't know.
Yeah.
All I know about Manny Effort was the Twitter or the Instagram exchange like you and him had.
Yeah, that was funny. I'm sure he's a cool guy. I've never actually met him in person still, but
Like
he's really fucking good at Frisbee. Like, look at his AUDL numbers. They're crazy. Like, he has bonkers numbers, but he just, you know, he played like 3 games in a season or played like 1 game 1 year, you know?
Yeah, I might honestly just slide over so we can kind of talk about these teams together, since it's kind of the same situation with Portland. Like, yeah, this was what came up when I looked up Jake Johnson. So,
Wait, can I just say real quick? Can I just say real quick that last year Eckert played 1 game. He had 8 assists, 2 goals, and 3 blocks.
Yeah.
Damn.
And also 8 turnovers.
Ooh. Didn't know about that.
Yeah. It's just
that's
like,
still MVP numbers though.
Hey,
you turn over a shit ton.
Nah, not I was going.
Yeah, you're right.
But like, is Seattle, like, what if Seattle's just like, now they have a Leandro Mark, so they're gonna be like Portland was, but Khalif is gonna, you know, have 50 goals and 50 assists and whatever.
Right.
Because yeah, he's talked on Twitter about like having that buy-in himself, but if it's just him, then this is what you get. You get Portland.
Yeah.
I think there's a case for Portland being even worse because Dylan Freechild is going to Rhino, and he seemed really like not. He seemed like he's gonna make people pick.
He's gonna bully people.
Point.
That's kind of how it sounded. He was kind of like it. Look, if you're gonna be like you're not gonna have 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out, like on my team. You know, that's kind of the vibe that he kind of had. So I'm not saying he's going to make people choose teams, but like it seemed like he's not going to have a lot of patience for people who like want to, you know, maybe skip some Rhino stuff to make Nitro stuff. You know what I mean? So I think Rhino's probably going to be like Rhino's going to go up, and I think Nitro's going to go down. Honestly,
How much further down they can go?
I don't know. They won 2 games. They win 0.
That's such an interesting take because like Portland, I don't think there's another team that like is so dominant with one player like Leandro Marks. And you look at Rhino, like Leandro Marks is just such a big factor for them. Like
I know.
is the Dylan Freechild like Rhino situation gonna affect like Leandro Marx's buy-in to Portland? Because like I don't know, like
I don't know.
that's a whole situation that could go one way, another way, or just be a zero factor at all, you know.
Yeah.
So
And then they didn't have like any notable additions or subtractions on the AUDL's preseason power rankings. So I just kind of threw in like a keepers because Marks is coming back, Jake Johnson's coming back, and then I assume Daniel Lee is coming back, but I don't really know. He was the guy who like again, every time he would play, he would have bonkers numbers and then he just wouldn't play again. Like he was playing, they were competitive with the summit, and we are like, oh, this team's good, and then he didn't play and they were terrible.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. This team is like made up of like 5 players, and then everybody else is just like it's just like there's such a steep drop off from the top 1 to the top 2 to the top 3 to, you know, the next group of a couple players, and then everybody else is just like not performing as well. I don't know. It's kind of just insane that they even won 2. What if they didn't have Leandro Marks? Like, would this team win a game? I don't know.
Yeah, there's a 59 point gap in the plus minus between Leandro Marks and their second leading
Jesus
plus minus player.
Holy shit.
So
that's crazy.
Which I mean, I get it. Jake Johnson's got a lot going on with like I think he's directing stuff now, but still,
Yeah, for sure.
Who was
People always
it? Who
asking
was
for
it?
autographs, like
yeah.
Who was it who told us that Leandro Marks was like a super nice guy?
Cam Brock.
This Cam.
Yeah, he said at All-Star Weekend, Leandro Marks was like the nicest guy there by far.
That's
Super cool.
crazy. Because he looks like the like
I don't believe it.
he's got the shades and he's got the beef by being better than Everest and you know, so his this imaginary Leandro Marks in my head was this like, you know, this bad boy like biker gang like dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I guess could not be more opposite.
And then the last note is actually maybe this is the longest road trip in the West. I don't know the relative differences, but Portland's going to Chicago in late June or mid-June, which hopefully that'll be a fun game. I don't know who all they'll bring and whatnot, but would love to see a good
I don't
game.
know. I don't know who's going to that on Freechild's watch.
Did Leandro win the AUDL's Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, the unofficial one.
The unofficial one, gotcha.
Yeah.
Did he?
Wait, did he actually?
I don't know.
I thought Quinn Finer won it.
No, he won. He won the Quinn Finer won the real official.
Yeah, Quinn Finer won the real one.
I'm pretty sure Leandro won it for them.
I don't think so. I'll check. I'll check. Whoever finds it first.
I got maybe.
Everest?
Yeah, it was.
Thoughts?
It was.
Yeah, it was him.
Runner-up was Finer.
Interesting.
What are my thoughts about Nitro? I mean, it's both our wins against them last year were by 1 point. They were close games.
Damn, dude.
I know. Fuck.
Everest, I'll do you one better. What's your thoughts about every team?
Yeah.
Introducing the Everest Shapiro spookometer.
You know, you almost yeah. All right.
Yes, we're gonna have you tell us how spooky each of these teams is.
All right, I'm gonna start off with Aviators. I think we're like through the roof of the thermometer.
Oh shit. Okay. Also, I have different colors if you want to make someone blue to really rub it in, you know?
Oh, I got you. Yeah. Make us like blood vibrant red. There we go. Kind of shooting.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Really good.
Oh, man.
All right. Summit. I think Summit is the next team that I've got on my radar. I think you can put them at like 80%. 80% spook.
This is pretty moderately spooked.
They're a good team. They're a really good team. And they had a couple losses, but a lot of great additions. And I mean, it seems like their system there it's kind of their system more so than their individual players. Oh my God, what happened to my camera?
I was gonna say,
Why are
speaking
you
of
so
spooky,
spooky?
your lighting, man.
I feel like it's their system more than their individual players. So I don't think, their losses and additions. I think they're still going to be a really good team like they were last year. Next, I think Shred. You can put him at like 60%. They're a good team as well. And more Jorgensen's is just more scary faces for us to deal with.
Are they ugly?
No, I do not know at all. I don't think so.
I think they're pretty attractive looking.
Yeah, I can't even picture them right now. Then honestly, I mean,
Gotta
it's
be
kind of
real.
a toss up between Growlers and Cascades for me.
Interesting.
Growlers lost a lot of people, obviously, as we saw. Cascades, one or two, a couple big pickups. Garrett Martin obviously is going to be good for them too. I'd put Growlers at like 30% spook.
Okay.
And then I'd put Cascades at like
Cascades are in there.
Yeah, like at 25-30.
All right. So you're
Little
not
lower,
scared
little
of a little lower?
Yeah, but that's all right. It's all right. Yeah, just shave some off. There you go.
Perfect.
And then I don't know. It's like what you guys said. Last year, Oakland was not very intimidating in the beginning, and then they kind of had their run. So I feel like I can't just discount them, But I'd say they're probably at like 15-20, and Nitro's probably around there too.
Wow, you're low on Oakland.
Wow. What was your guys' record against Oakland last year?
I think both of our games. I think both games I wasn't playing in, and I think because I think both of our games were late in the season after I was hurt. So I think we were 1-1 though. I'm 99% sure we won at home because I think we had like a buzzer beater. Milan roofed somebody in the back of the end zone. That's like a pretty nice highlight that they show sometimes. And then I don't know what happened I think we lost in Oakland. I didn't go to that game, but I heard stories about what the team got into afterwards.
All right. Well, this looks fantastic. There we go. Thank you for sharing your deepest, darkest, spooky secrets with us.
That was really good.
And this has been an episode of I'm Open with Sam, Brian, Joe, Andrew, Everest from Ringer the Ultimate. Subscribe to our YouTube and follow us on stuff and buy our merch.
Make sure to watch all. Oh, wait a minute. This is delayed. I was going to say watch all the WL and PUL games this weekend, but
go Super Bloom.
Come out.
Yeah, watch them last weekend and next weekend.
Rewatch them.
Go West.
Watch them all. I'm open.